and this is what we call local file inclusion. Hello and welcome back again to another video here on TryHackMe. It's going to be TryHackMe hosting the machine called Damn Vulnerable Web Application, and we're looking at a type vulnerability called file inclusion. Now, file inclusion is, in this particular example, local file inclusion, and the general idea here is that we can include files from the local file system which this website is running on. So the actual server, the system, the backend, the machine we're attacking, we can include files from that system and display them on this website. Now, when you click local file inclusion, the page itself, you will be presented with, as you can see right here, 3 PHP files you can click on. The very first one is going to say, hello admin, your IP address is. File 2 is going to be, I need the password 8 character long, so I picked Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Great. File 3 is welcome back admin. This is your user agent, and you came from this page, it says. Alright, so we didn't include the PHP, but we included the file 3 PHP. So I'm gonna copy paste the URL inside a document here, and we're gonna zoom in a little bit so we can better see it. Now, what we see here is, and analyzing the actual URL is up to this part is irrelevant for now. This is the part that's relevant. Now we have the page variable, and the page variable is a get variable that is being read by PHP. PHP is reading get variables using this or this. This is global variables in PHP, and the way it's going to be filled out is basically just like this. So that is the way it does it. If you imagine the general idea is that PHP reads that particular variable, the value is file3.php, in some way, like pseudocode, if you're gonna say like file to read, let's just keep this one here, and you then in some way, you know, show file to web, in some way thinking about it, this is the way it's gonna be. So what if you then replace this part, the value, with anything else? Would it then just read the file and output it to the screen? Well, I guess so. So we're gonna try something like, instead of the value like that, we're gonna try something like go back, and let's read ourselves the password file, for example. Now the password file itself doesn't contain the actual passwords, but as you can see, the page is not showed like that. We could try and do a source show of the page, and we have nothing here. Now we could try to remove one ... slash and see if it was too many or too few or anything like that. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is going to add, oops, that was not dots, it was commas, a few more, and at some point you're gonna hit the right amount of going back before you hit the actual file system. Now, depending on what we just included right here, as you can see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going back. So it could very much be that the path we're going at is like va, something like that, and then you have some folders and stuff. So we would be in vulnerabilities, and would be in FI, and all this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we are back to slash, going to be the very first one, and from that we're going to include the etc password file, and this is what we call local file inclusion. We are including files directly from the local operating system that is running this web page. Now, what can we include of value in this particular case now to further exploit? Now, depending on which kind of system the web page is running on, is it a CMS system like WordPress, Umbraco, whatever? Is it something that someone coded themselves? That's going to be the worst case scenario because they have a tendency to use weird structures. I would probably, start including the index file and start looking around what it includes, getting my database credentials, connecting to that if possible, seeing if they forgot to exclude remote connections to the SQL database. In most cases, it's going to be some sort of MySQL database or SQL database, just in more general. It could also be some MongoDB or NoSQL, database. It does say MySQL server, so there's a really good chance it's going to be a MySQL server. You can also go ahead and try and include other things like SSH stuff. If there was a user, for example, so let's right click and say view page, you can see the list here a bit easier. Then you can go ahead and look for user. There's an Ubuntu user, as you can see, in home folder. I'm gonna look for more. There's a syslog, but that's not that interesting. It's a data user, not also interesting. So what we're gonna try and do is to play with the thought that in home Ubuntu, this folder right here, it's gonna be a user we can log in with. It's gonna be a SSH key, for example. So we could take, to replace all this, like this, press enter. We don't get anything in particular in home Ubuntu. We could try .ssh to add that along with it, and not really getting anything, which is probably because there is nothing in the folder. So you can also try to go ahead and just include the home folder and see if anything is in there. Usually it's only other folders containing folders. You can go ahead and check the etc. And the thing is with local file inclusion is that if you include only folders, you will get nothing, as we just see right now. You need to include actual files. So let's try home Ubuntu /ssh/id rsa. And that would be the correct path. I'm just gonna show it to you right now. This would be the correct path when including files directly. Is there a home folder with Ubuntu user? Is there a SSH folder? Inside of that, is there an ID RSA? There is nothing like this in this particular case. We have no real idea what's going on. So I'm just trying different kind of things. There are different kind of cheat sheets you can go ahead and find that can show you which kind of files that would be interesting for you to include to see. So you can, for example, say what is inside the cron tab, and you can see the cron tab. There is actually nothing interesting in the cron tab. You can see most of it is just commented out. You see that there's nothing in it, so it's a dead file to check out. If you have no real clue on what to do, definitely go ahead and find a cheat sheet for local file inclusion. It could be done like cheat sheet LFI, and then take something that works. Let's see if we get something interesting here. This doesn't look like a cheat sheet, so let's go and take the one from Hackstrix, file inclusion or path traversal, you can call it. Then you're gonna check out stuff here and see if anything is there for our eyes to check out. There are different kind of things like trying the password and stuff, but not really the most interesting cheat sheet. Usually it's also trying to include, source code to get further access, to get some initial foothold in some way, to get, outputted SSH keys. If we can output SSH keys, well, we probably would win. And then we would actually, get the actual, probably the actual first initial foothold. But all that is just bare speculation, and I'm really gonna say much more about this. File inclusion, a really bad one, so keep an eye open for it and definitely shut it down. So that's it for this video. Really hope you liked it, and I'm gonna see you again online at some point to learn more about security.